Listen, if you ever need anybody murdered, please give me a call.
You're
I'm very
giving him a
discreet. I
card?
have no code of ethics. I will kill anyone, anywhere. Children, animals, old people, doesn't matter. I just love killing.
Ace the track killer, $200 biller.
What's up, everybody? Today, I have a really special shoe that I want to talk to you all about, the Streakfly 2 by Nike. I just finished a really nice workout on the track. I tried to do some mile repeats, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. But first, let's go over some specs. 26 millimeters in the heel, 22 in the forefoot for a 4 mil drop. This weighed 128 grams in my size 9.5. It has these really interestingly stretchy but somewhat serrated laces. This tongue is not padded up here, but where the laces cross over it, it has these two parallel like padding, pillowy components. The upper is an engineered mesh. It's not stretchy at all, the upper. And then the heel counter is nicely pillowy. It's not a separated heel counter like a lot of the racing shoes these days. It's a one-piece construction sort of pillow material. In the midsole, ZoomX, very nice. And inside there is a fly plate. And that's the Nike word for a carbon fiber plate. This one's really thin. It's a thin carbon fiber plate, which allows for a little bit more flexibility in the shoe. I don't want to like show you too much because you're not really supposed to bend shoes, but you'll see a bunch of people online that will bend the shoes and spring them forward. But this, you could see it's like a little bit more flexible than you would find in a higher stack super shoe. The fit is like a glove. This is built on a track spike last, and it feels like it. I mean, it's been a long time since I've worn spikes, but it definitely feels very tight to your foot. It's a narrow midfoot and forefoot, so if you have wide feet, you're not gonna like this. It's just not gonna work for you. But I think the intent behind a shoe like this is obviously to get you your fastest time ever. And so they don't mind cramming you into the very tight toe box for a short duration if it means achieving extremely fast times. And so that's how it fits. It fits like a track spike. It is breathable. Obviously, it's very, very see-through upper. I could actually see the camera. I don't know if you could see my eyeball, but I could see the camera through the shoe. Like I was saying just a second ago, these laces are a little stretchy, which oftentimes is not my favorite, but I think it pairs really nicely with this upper. So if you look at the eyelet chain, I thought initially, the first time I tried this on, which was a couple of months ago at a store, I thought that this cordage here was elastic, but it's actually, after finally getting a chance to purchase this, I can tell now it's the laces that are a little elastic. And that really made for a very dialed lockdown across the entire eyelet chain. I thought that was phenomenal engineering on Nike's part. And yeah, that's what I have about the upper. I know that some people are sensitive to rubbing on the heel. This didn't for me do that. And I think it's just the full length pillowy ankle collar padding that really made it comfortable for me. So no issues there. Moving on to everybody's very favorite, the midsole. And this midsole is ZoomX, and it is bouncy, and it is like assistive and springy in a way that I think that a lot of super shoes that are higher stack height really just can't. There's no way to achieve that because this still maintains some of the flexibility of like a foot maybe. And obviously it sacrifices for it in stack, right? So it's a little less rigid. It would have to be because there's less stack in there. And I think the choice of using this very thin carbon fiber plate was brilliant. I'm not really sure about this whole like duckbill platypus situation going on back here. I think they could get rid of that and it would change absolutely nothing and save weight. But maybe I'm just not a shoe engineer and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I thought the ride was rapid, lethal, phenomenal. I didn't really have any issues with pain in any place on my foot. I felt like this was forcing me to land on my forefoot. Oh, quick side quest that we need to go on. The outsole is just a standard rubber, but with these Nike waffly lugs, and it's good. It was grippy. I mean, I was on a track, so nothing is really ever not grippy on a track for me, at least. But yeah, side quest over. It was a propulsive, fast, murderous ride, and I enjoyed every moment of it. So I took this out to the track to do mile repeats, and I did this immediately following Run Club. And so I was pretty fatigued going into it, or at least like very warmed up, should we say. And then I did a little bit more of a warm up in this. So the type of run that I did was a half mile warm up around the track, just like testing it out, getting a feel, cinching down the laces, making sure everything fit all right. And I found it really easy to get a lockdown in this. Then mile repeat. So I intended to do 3. I only did 2. You could judge me for that. I will for myself as well. But the first mile repeat was a PR for me, which was awesome to see. I mean, I haven't done a lot of mile training, so I kind of expected it. And I do think I could still go faster on more rested legs. That said, it was a ride that I just enjoyed it. I thought it brought me along for its own vengeance type of, there was assistance. There was help from the shoe. It was not only me putting in that effort for a fast mile. And then I did another sort of cool down recovery half mile around the track, jumped right back into another repetition of a mile. That one was a touch slower, but still pretty much on pace. And then decided to cool down with a mile cool down in this. So not a ton of pace range on this. It's going from like 5:52, which was my PR, I'm pretty stoked about, down to, or up to, I should say, about 8:20 at the slowest in this on the track. And so I don't know how you would even run slower than that. I don't know if it would be possible. And apply the same sort of range logic to your own personal paces. So whatever that would be for you, that's like my current goal marathon time would be sitting at around 8:20. So if you take that into account with the mile split that I have, I just don't think that you're going to want to run slower than say like a slow tempo run in these. Like you just won't. There's no point in doing that. These are for the killers out there, right? So that's my first take on it. I don't want to spend too much time on hyping it up too much. I didn't find anything really negative on this at all. I'm blown away, frankly. I could see maybe durability being an issue, but you don't buy. Everybody knows that going into this shoe what it is, right? So don't expect durability. I could also be totally wrong about anticipating it not being durable. There's a lot of rubber on the outsole here. So if you're really only using it for its intended purpose on the track and like landing on the forefoot, if that's the way that you run, and if you're running really fast speed work in it, you're probably going to be up on your forefoot anyways. I don't know if really the durability will be an issue, but there's not a lot of material on the shoe. So that's a risk that it runs. I guess the one drawback that if I had to pick one that I could find on the shoe is this makes no sense to me. Why did they do that? The duckbill platypus situation. So silly. So before we wrap up and look at if this was a historical figure, who would it be? I do want to talk about a brief comparison to the Streakfly 2, or the Streakfly OG with the Streakfly 2. Now, this has the wrong laces on it. This is actually the laces from an Ultra Escalante. The reason that these laces are on here is that the original laces on the Streakfly were so good that I've been swapping them into shoes that have bad laces. So the Adios Pro 3 was my first marathon shoe ever that I ran with the Streakfly laces on. Now they exist on the Hoka Stilo X1 because the laces that came on that were terrible, and the laces that came on this were super great. They're the serrated laces. So whatever, that's not what the shoe normally looks like. It's a little bit thicker of a material on the upper. The people have said that the midsole in this is not real ZoomX. It certainly doesn't feel the same as the ZoomX that's in the Streakfly 2. But when I got it, I was relatively new to running, and I loved the foam in this. I thought it was great. People blew it up on a microscope, and it has like a different expanded like per bead size. I don't have the image in front of me, but it's one of those where just like the beads in this are going to be a little bit closer, like the particles. I don't know what you call it. I'm going to learn more about foams for y'all. But yeah, what I liked about this, I was running in this mainly as daily miles, just as an alternative option. What I didn't like about this was how quickly the foam compressed in the forefoot. So I can't remember exactly what the drop was in it. I think it was like a 6 mil drop because that's typically what I run in. But it feels like a 10 mil drop now, just this all compressed down, and the heel didn't compress down so much. And now it's just, yeah, not really runnable, despite there being, I think personally, a little bit more life in the midsole and in the outsole. It's probably at 150 to 200 miles. So just a reference for the prior iteration. But this is tame. This is heavier, right? This is 182 grams. This is 128 grams. It's a completely different shoe. Very wildly different. This is like a family man, and this is like a cloaked assassin waiting in the shrouds. And that perfectly segues into if the Streakfly 2 were a historical figure, alive or dead, who would it be? And I put a lot of thought into this. I think, for me, this resembles Walter White, right? Not a real person, but he was a family man with a good life, albeit a mediocre one, not living up to his potential, right? And then took a dark turn. Became sharp around the edges, lethal beyond measure, remorseless and hyper intelligent and unforgiving, unrelenting, one single-minded, hell-bent on world domination, right? Walter White is the Streakfly 2. Thank you.